All right. Welcome everybody to the second Mutual Aid Brookline Town Hall. My name is Eliana. I am one of the two general organizers at Mutual Aid Brookline. I will be facilitating tonight's town hall. So I want to first just thank everybody for tuning in. We are so excited to have you here and so excited to be having this. Our first town hall went really well, and we are hoping and expecting this one to go great as well. First of all, I want to just thank Brookline Interactive Group for hosting us and streaming this on various platforms. We are on YouTube and Facebook, and I believe on Brookline Access Television as well. So thank you so much, Brookline Interactive Group. Definitely, they've been doing an awesome job of helping keep the Brookline community in contact during quarantine. So you can check them out at brooklineinteractive.org. Thank you so much, Anne and everybody else, for helping us with this town hall. I also want to thank Sam Tarlow, who is doing closed captioning for us, which we're really excited to have as well. So today, I just want to give you an overview of the agenda. For the first half of this meeting, everybody on the team is going to be introducing themselves and talking about the different initiatives that we have here at Mutual Aid Brookline. Then for the second portion, we're going to open it up to questions from you, the general Brookline community. We want to hear from you. If you have questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, you can put them in the chat of wherever you are watching this, on Zoom, YouTube, or Facebook, and we have people who are monitoring those. So then in the second half of this town hall, we will answer your questions and talk about any thoughts that you have. With that being said, I first want to introduce Bonnie, my co-general organizer at Mutual Aid Brookline, who's going to talk about our background, our mission statement, and just a little bit of an idea about who we are.
Thank you, Eliana. My name is Bonnie Bastian, and I want to start with a general idea of what mutual aid is. We certainly did not invent it. It has a very long history that everyone should read up on. Mutual aid is a form of political participation in which community members take responsibility for caring for each other. We work to change inequitable conditions, not only via symbolic acts or putting pressure on our representatives in government, but by building new social relations that create more livable and supportive circumstances. At its best, mutual aid should be accessible to everybody in a community, providing opportunities to engage in both immediate relief efforts and long-term systems of change. Mutual Aid Brookline is directly accountable to the community we serve. We are actively an anti-racist organization. We operate with the understanding that our current system, not the people suffering under it, creates poverty, crisis, and vulnerability. The COVID-19 crisis has highlighted and exacerbated existing systemic inequalities in our community. And when we subsidize the cost of supplies and childcare and facilitate direct contributions of funds to neighbors, we provide what is requested to the best of our ability and trust that those on the receiving end know the best way to apply those resources. We do not require people requesting resources to prove their need. Mutual Aid Brookline is a community-built and volunteer-run initiative that was launched in the very first days of the COVID-19 quarantine. I want to be very clear that we are not a nonprofit and we are not incorporated. We are neighbors coming together as a community to help each other in this crisis as best we can. We adapted an existing mutual aid infrastructure into a system tailored to the needs of the Brookline area. Mutual Aid Brookline is able to span all of Brookline to ensure that everyone has access to essential resources like food, cleaning supplies, medication, childcare, and financial assistance as immediately as possible. We weave together hyper-local neighborhood initiatives and collaborate with municipal departments and local institutions like the Brookline Foundation Safety Net Fund and the Brookline Food Pantry to make sure that we are all serving our Brookline community effectively and efficiently. The way I think about it is that those larger organizations are large stones in a river and we are the water that flows between them. We're able to be nimble and flexible to meet the rapidly changing needs in town, while also catching our neighbors that fall through the cracks in these local, state, and federal aid systems. We started as a 2-person effort with Eliana and I on March 15th, 2 days after Brookline schools closed, with a system for donations, a hotline, and the beginnings of a volunteer list, along with a no contact delivery system. We added efforts to connect essential workers to childcare and provide childcare subsidies and grew from there. Now we have an incredibly well-organized system of community delivery coordinated by Liz Neal, a superstar hotline team coordinated by Sam Brady-Myeroff that serves as Mutual Aid Brookline's front door for many, an expansive language access team organized and led by Jay Husson, a system to connect families with childcare and subsidies developed by Elena Brown that will now be led by Michael Kushner. We have a direct financial aid initiative that's currently under transformation, led by Emma Nash, who is also our website creator. We have a new Odd Jobs and Fix It initiative that is just getting off the ground, led by the lovely Katie Solomon and Seth Mazer. Our social media presence is managed by Amelia Gouch. Volunteer coordination is led by Teresa Amirati, and our fundraising team is led by Eve Ackerman. In addition to our organizing team, we have a team of 3,000 volunteers that perform all of the services that I just listed. We can't do anything without them. And as we go through our initiatives, you will hear about all kinds of ways to volunteer with us. And when we get to the end, you will also learn about how to go about volunteering with us. We will also supply ways for you to donate to help keep mutual aid sustainable into the future. And I mentioned just a moment ago that we have a website. It's brand new, and it is a lot easier to use than our previous Google Docs situation. The website is mutualaidbrookline.com. So simple. And that's it. So I'm going to pass it on to Sam, who runs our hotline. Go ahead, Sam.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Yes, all right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Brady-Myeroff, and I use she, her pronouns, and I run the mutual aid hotline. And so there it is at the bottom. So a little bit of background on who I am. I am a senior at Brookline High School. I plan to study political science and law. I have worked with mutual aid on their hotline since March, so all the way back when my school was canceled. And some fun facts, I love to surf and I do a lot of art. So what is the hotline? As Bonnie said earlier, we are the first line of communication between the community and Mutual Aid Brookline. So for a lot of people, phone communication is the most available. And so we do a lot of the first conversations with people in the community, matching them with resources that they need, giving them information, all that fun stuff. So we take calls from all over Brookline. We are open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. all days of the week, and we take calls on all sorts of subjects, and we are completely staffed by volunteers. So our volunteers take shifts throughout the week from the comfort of their homes. So some examples of calls we get calls regarding grocery delivery, financial aid, prescription pickup, general information about MAB, where to donate, library pickup, almost anything. You feel even if you have a question and you don't know exactly what you want, or you just want to learn more about mutual aid, the hotline is the place to go. So how to call or volunteer. So calling, just use our phone number, which is there on the slide, 617-651-1468. We are open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. all days of the week, so feel free to call whenever is most convenient for you. And if you happen to get a voicemail, feel free to just wait. You can call back later, or we will get back to you. And if you want to volunteer, you can email mutualaidbrookline.volunteers@gmail.com, which you'll hear about more later. We do ask that our volunteers are more on the tech savvy side, just because we do use a lot of technology. But once you're signed up with us to volunteer on the hotline, you can take shifts whenever we're very flexible. So we don't want you to be taking any more than you can't do. So, you know, you sign up for shifts whenever you have time, and it's COVID safe. You don't have to leave your house. Yeah, it's a really fun time. And I also wanted to just say a thank you to my amazing volunteer team, because they are just such awesome people for stepping up and taking shifts, and just being, we've had people who have been with us since March, and it has just been such a great journey. And so, yeah, that's my piece. The hotline, feel free, please just call if you want information. If you have any questions, feel free to call. So I am going to pass it off to Jay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jay, and I help out with Mutual Aid Brookline's language coordination. Our language access team works to ensure that all community members can fully participate in mutual aid, regardless of what language or languages they speak. And we believe that abilities in languages other than English are a valuable skill that community members can offer to help make our mutual aid network and the community stronger. So most broadly, we aim to support conditions within Mutual Aid Brookline and in the community that ensure that proficiency in non-English languages is a boon rather than a barrier. So we do this primarily in 3 ways. The first one is communicating with community members via phone, text message, and email, primarily by phone. The second way is translating written materials into various languages. And the third way is promoting in-language mutual aid outreach. So I'll run through each of those briefly. The first one, communicating with community members. The goal of this first one is to make sure that everybody is able to take part in each of Mutual Aid Brookline's different initiatives. So this is in support of all the different programs that you're about to hear more about. So if someone speaks a language other than English and they want to get in touch, they can call the hotline, which Sam just spoke about, and just say the language that they'd like to speak. So for example, they could say Mandarin or Spanish or some other language, and the hotline team will then notify our language access team, and we'll have a volunteer reach out to that community member in language, generally within 24 hours. And we currently have 24 and soon to be 25 languages that we are able to do this in. The second thing our team does is translating written materials into different languages. The goal of this is to make sure that everybody has access to relevant information about Mutual Aid Brookline and about important initiatives going on in the community more generally. So a lot of what we've translated are mutual aid specific materials, like informational pages, flyers, forms, emails, that sort of thing. And then we've also been able to help other community initiatives translate some key information into various languages. An example of that is that we recently helped translate instructions put together by Inclusive Brookline about how to request, fill out, and submit a ballot. So there's your voting plug there. And we've done text translations in about a dozen languages. So the third thing we do is promoting in-language mutual aid outreach. This involves trying to get in-language information about Mutual Aid Brookline out into the community in ways that are relevant and appropriate. The goal being that it's not just English-speaking people who are seeing information about Mutual Aid Brookline. And this is something that we've done some of, and I think is definitely a growth area for us that we're planning to do more on once we finish our current process of updating some of our outreach materials. So the last thing I'll say is, if you're already a language access volunteer, thanks so much for all your work. And if you're not, we're always looking for more volunteers so that we can build as wide and as deep language capacities as possible. And we're always thrilled to have any languages and any time commitments. So if you're interested or would like to hear more about it, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much. And now I'll toss it over to Liz.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I am just going to share my screen. So hello, thanks to everyone who's here joining us today. My name is Liz. I'm the volunteer delivery coordinator for Mutual Aid Brookline. You can see the delivery contact information on the screen. We can be reached at mutualaidbrookline.delivery@gmail.com or at 617-651-1037. So what do? We offer free contactless grocery and medication deliveries to anyone within Brookline. This includes subsidized clients, high-risk individuals, and both. And it's important to realize that subsidies are available with no questions asked, and all information is always confidential. We run on rolling donations, and all of our subsidies come directly from our community fund. In order to ensure that everyone gets what they need, we offer subsidies of up to $150 per 2 weeks for 1 to 2 people, or up to $250 for 2 weeks for 3 to 4 people. We shop within Brookline, and this is both for the safety of our volunteers and to make sure that those subsidies also help fuel Brookline's businesses. Our volunteer drivers go shopping in store and then get reimbursed, either by mutual aid, from the community fund, or by the client. You can see our delivery dispatch hours on the screen. We're active Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're emergencies only on Monday and Friday, and that's for out of food or out of medication emergencies, and we do those as quickly as we can. We do ask for as much notice as possible for routine delivery orders. All of our drivers are amazing volunteers, so we try to find times that work for everybody when scheduling deliveries. We also offer contactless library deliveries. We're delighted to partner with the public libraries of Brookline to offer this last mile service for those in quarantine, homebound, or with mobility issues. Anyone in Brookline, JP, or West Roxbury with a Brookline library card can use this service. Just place your library holds as usual, and then email or call us when your holds are ready for pickup. We do deliveries from each library once a week: Putterham on Mondays, Coolidge Corner on Tuesdays, and Brookline Village on Wednesdays. Our delivery initiative, together with the rest of MAB, just hit our 7-month mark. We keep track of how much delivery is doing. All public data is completely anonymized and helps us better address needs across Brookline. Over the last few months, we've completed over 800 deliveries and spent over $37,000 in subsidies. As you can see, about half of our total deliveries are subsidized, and 3/4 of our total deliveries have been for repeat clients. We distribute a weekly anonymized fact sheet to town stakeholders to call attention to continuing food subsidy and contactless delivery needs. We meet with others offering food resource initiatives in Brookline, such as the Food Pantry, the Safety Net, Brookline Housing Authority, Public Schools of Brookline, and Brookline Thrives. We regularly refer clients to existing Brookline organizations to fill non-delivery needs, and they also refer clients to us. We run entirely on volunteers and donations. We have both in-person and remote volunteering opportunities, including a team of 10 amazing remote volunteer dispatchers who take down order information and connect clients to drivers, and over 100 volunteer drivers who lend a hand when they can. If you'd like to learn more about joining our delivery team, whether as an in-store shopper, a library delivery volunteer, or a remote dispatcher, please send us an email, and Teresa will talk more about how to volunteer with us at the end. Long story short, whether it's a prescription pickup, a routine grocery run, library books and DVDs, or even a birthday cake, we have you covered. We all have something to offer, and we all have something that we need. What we can offer at Delivery is free contactless deliveries to make sure that all of our neighbors are safe and fed. And now I'll turn it over to Elena and Michael to talk about another essential service, the childcare initiative.
Great, thank you, Liz. So my name is Elena. I'm the outgoing childcare coordinator. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I actually want to just pass it off to Michael, who's going to be our incoming childcare coordinator. And he can tell you a little bit about what we have coming up for childcare, and I'll fill in any blanks if we need to at the end.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Michael. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am, as Elena explained, the incoming childcare coordinator. So childcare coordinating, mostly what we focus on is just helping either families connect with childcare providers, and also to help people who are interested in working as childcare providers in the community. So recently, the biggest update that we have is that we've been able to launch our website, mutualaidbrookline.com, which allows for both families and providers to post essentially ads looking for either a provider or for those who are looking for work in childcare to kind of find each other. We're no longer doing like direct placements between parents and childcare providers as we have been doing in the summer, so that's a big change. But this opportunity for people to kind of connect with each other. We do have some subsidies available, though it's on a pretty limited basis. But that we could probably go into the specific numbers. I'm blanking on what we actually have available in terms of financial support. But something to keep in mind in terms of our services with the website is that we are not directly doing background checks on the childcare providers, that we do have questions available for people to, ask about and explain, what precautions are they taking with COVID, as well as an opportunity for people to check off whether or not they've been had a background check or query check. So that's an opportunity to kind of see, and an opportunity for people to kind of explain their experience with childcare as well. So there's some checks and balances in place, but we're not personally taking any liability in terms of the placements. Is there anything that I'm missing, Elena?
That's great in terms of what we have going forward. I just wanted to add that on the website, we will have a place where parents can request subsidies. So you can fill out that form. We're currently at capacity. We're providing 20 hours of care to some families in Brookline. That's at a rate of $18 an hour. So that comes out to $360 a week. And so far we've provided about $15,000, almost $16,000 actually, I think now, of subsidies since March in childcare subsidies. We did have a childcare fundraiser this summer. We raised about $2,500, so that was really great. But moving forward, we are currently around our cap, so we aren't taking in any more childcare subsidy requests, but we're hoping to have some big fundraising pushes as we move forward, and hopefully we'll have openings again as we move forward into the winter. And as there's the potential for schools to shut down, we're hoping to really get those numbers up so that we can offer more subsidies going forward.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
that is pretty much it. Michael, do you have anything else to add?
No, I was just going to add, if anyone had any questions, you can always reach out to us via email at mutualaidbrookline.childcare@gmail.com. We can always put that in the notes or something for people to have access to later. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Michael. And we're going to pass it on to Emma.
Hi, just a sec while I figure out how to share my screen because my screen is a mess. Okay. I got it. Hi, my name is Emma. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. My screen sharing is paused. I'm resuming the share. Okay. Hi, my name is Emma. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I coordinate the Direct Financial Aid Initiative. Sorry, I think my screen share keeps not working because my internet is lousy. And I just lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Emma, do you want me to share it for you?
I think it's working now.
Okay, great.
Is that working? Okay. Hi, my name is Emma. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I coordinate the Direct Financial Aid Initiative, and I also run our newly available website, mutualaidbrookline.com. Currently, the Direct Financial Aid Initiative, there we go, is shut down. And I'm going to talk a little about the reasons why and what's going to be the future of DFAI. So we started DFAI in April in order to fill a need for direct financial aid. And DFAI is a little different from our other initiatives in that if you request a childcare subsidy, it's going to childcare. If you request a grocery subsidy, it's going to groceries. But direct financial aid can be for anything. It can be for medical issues. It can be for toys for your kid. It can be literally anything. So that said, the majority of our requests have been for help with rent. Since April, we've distributed close to $19,000, but we've received requests for, I think, more than $80,000. So we've met about 20% of the total need. And we've shut the program down, and I'm about to talk a little bit about why. So in the beginning, DFAI was not a fund. People would request direct financial aid, and every time they submitted a new request, we would send their request to our mailing list and fundraise directly through our mailing list. So in that sense, it was truly direct aid, in that if you were giving to DFAI, you were giving to someone directly. There was also no limit on how much you could request. So we had requests for as little as $150 and as much as $5,000. In the future, DFAI will be a fund. We will have a limited amount of money available, and we'll be able to fill requests on a first come, first served basis. We're also going to start capping amounts at $150. The reason that we're changing it to this system is that in the old system, there was too much uncertainty. Folks would submit a request and then be waiting for 2, 3, 4 weeks and still not get any money, and not know when they were going to get money. And that was really stressful both for them and for us. Additionally, it was a really inequitable system. A lot of people would get more money than others. So as much as it's difficult to change to a system where requests are capped at $150, it feels like a really necessary step in order, A, to provide more certainty and security for people, and B, to make sure that we're able to distribute mutual aid more equitably. Additionally, we're going to be looking for a new coordinator or co-coordinator, depending on your level of time commitment, to help us out with DFAI when we reopen. So please email mutualaidbrookline.volunteer@gmail.com if you're interested in that position. We're currently shut down so that we can raise money to make sure that everyone who requested money from us gets at least $150. When we are able to raise enough cash that we can start distributing cash amounts again, we will reopen. So please just send us an email to mutualaidbrookline.directaid@gmail.com if you're interested to know when we'll be reopening. Thank you very much. And I will now pass to, I forget who I'm passing to.
To me.
I'm
Hi.
passing to Katie. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah. I'm Katie. I use she, her, hers pronouns. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Odd Jobs initiative. So basically we're just here for like things that aren't food and aren't medication. So some of the things we've done so far are like getting someone's fridge was broken and we got them a new fridge. We were able to get from the community desks for people who needed a workspace from home, and winter clothes. That might be a big one. So yeah, definitely don't hesitate to reach out if you're in need of some warm clothes, or really anything odd, not really odd, but yeah, anything that isn't like food or other stuff. And if you reach out, and we can always like direct you to the right place. So yeah, our email is mutualaidbrookline.oddjobs@gmail.com. And yeah, don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. And I'm gonna send it over to Seth, who's doing like the fix it stuff.
Hi, my name is Seth. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am planning to do some fixing. And one of the first things I want to do is actually get a lot more Brookline residents connected to the resources that are out there. So right now, I'm collecting computer hardware that can be laptops or desktops. I'm collecting old phones and old tablets, and I'm going to, wipe them, make sure all the old data is off of them, reinstall operating systems if necessary, and really just try to redistribute them back out to people who are not as well connected as so many of us. I think that will develop into other sorts of fixing, maybe partway through the winter, you're going to need to fix your space heater. It's hard for me to know what's going to, we all have these things that are designed and made in the last, 15 years, and they break. They're not made to last. And as we are dealing with economic hardship, more and more we need to be repairing things rather than buying new things. So you will be able to reach me at mutualaidbrookline.fixit, or again, through the general, if you can't remember that, through the general email address, which will be back up on the screen sometime soon. But yeah, if you've got old, unloved technology collecting dust in a drawer somewhere, send it our way and we will try to get it out to people again. I am going to pass to someone who is not here. I'm going to pass back to Eliana to talk about social media.
All right. Thank you, Seth. So normally this would be presented by Amelia, who is our team member who runs our Instagram account, but she is not able to be here tonight. So I'm going to read something for her. I'm just reading what she wrote. So, hi, my name is Amelia Ghosh. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm a senior at Brookline High School and I started working with MAB in early April. I currently run the MAB Instagram, which is designed to reach new people and share MAB initiatives. The account is also a place where we can share mutual aid related information and education, like mutual aid history, what it means to be a mutual aid group, and more. I also check the Instagram several times a day. So for those unable to email or call MAB, the Instagram is also always a point of contact. You can follow us at Mutual Aid Brookline on Instagram. Thank you. So I just want to add that Amelia has done some really amazing work on the Instagram, researching the history of mutual aid in various aspects. So if you don't know a lot about mutual aid and you want to learn more, our Instagram has become a really great resource where she's compiled some really awesome information. So definitely I recommend taking a look at it and looking at some of her posts. You can hear about a lot of different types of mutual aid, where it comes from, and how it's been utilized in different communities. So now we have Teresa, who is going to talk about volunteer stuff.
Various areas that you've already heard about tonight.
Teresa, sorry, you were muted. Do you want to just start over?
Okay, I'm Teresa. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I am the coordinator for volunteers. This means that when someone volunteers, whether they know what they want to do or just want to volunteer in general and are looking to figure out what will suit their interests and help us, if you get in touch with me, I will get you connected with the coordinator for that area if you know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, I will send you the sheet that we have that lists all the possible volunteer opportunities, tells you the amount of time that's required, whether it's a one-shot thing occasionally or something that you will sign up for regularly for as many hours or sessions as you can afford. You can get in touch with, or you can offer to volunteer in several ways. One is by getting in touch with any of the people you already heard from, and they'll get in touch with me. The most efficient way is certainly to just go to mutualaidbrookline.volunteer@gmail. I'm sorry, mutualaidbrookline.volunteer@gmail.com. That will get directly to me, and I will then get in touch with you and talk with you either by email or telephone, whatever works, about what your interests are and the kinds of things that are available to us. We're always looking for volunteers. Some volunteering, as you've heard, will ask you to do several hours a week. Others will say do it whenever you can. Some, like language, will happen only when there's a request for a particular language. So it's pretty flexible and you can figure out what will work best for you. We're also very flexible as a group, so we will try to make it as possible for you to volunteer as it is possible, because we need volunteers, and helping people in the community is a very rewarding thing to do. So if you want to do it, we certainly want you to be part of the team. And I'm going to turn it back to, let me just say one more time, mutualaidbrookline.volunteer@gmail.com. And I'll turn it back to Eliana.
All right, thank you, Teresa. So now I want to talk about organizing with Mutual Aid Brookline. So our volunteers are awesome, and they're the people who are out there doing so much of the hands-on work. But what's great about our volunteer opportunities is it's for most of them, you can, it's not as much of a time commitment. In terms of our organizing team, it is a larger commitment. And so I want to talk about a little bit what it means to be on our organizing team, how we work, and kind of make a plug for joining us, because we would love to have more people join our team. So for the MAB organizing team, basically everybody has their own initiative, as you can see, and they're fairly independently run. And Bonnie and I are just kind of like we fill in the gaps and help with communication and overall monitoring of Mutual Aid Brookline as a group. So everybody pretty much runs their initiative on their own, but then we come together as a group to support each other and help each other keep things running. And so a big part of that is we have our weekly meetings every week at 5:30 on Thursdays. And those meetings are a time where we come together, we give each other updates about how things are going. We talk about things that we might be struggling with. We get advice for how to deal with complicated issues. We bring to the table if we want to change something or do something new, we bring that to the table and we talk to each other and we discuss that. So no big decisions are made without everybody on the team having input. We are very much a cooperative and collaborative group. That being said, again, everybody does have their own initiative that is independently run. But on the other hand, nobody is in it alone. So if somebody is struggling with something, if they're overwhelmed, if there's just too much work, the rest of the team is there to back them up. So we're all involved with what each other's doing, but we trust each other to know how to do what we're doing, if that makes sense. And so organizing Mutual Aid Brookline, it is a bigger time commitment. But it's also great. It's an awesome group of people who are just really dedicated to what they're doing. And the more people we have helping us organize, the less work it is for each person. And the more we can get done and the more we can do to benefit our community. It's a really great thing. I think we can all say that we've enjoyed it and that we have benefited from it. So if you're interested in getting a little bit more involved and kind of getting to that deeper level of talking about mutual aid and making this happen, we would love to have you. And you can email us. You can email Teresa at mutualaidbrookline.volunteer@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me and Bonnie to talk about what kind of work you'd like to do with organizing with us at mutualaidbrookline@gmail.com. If you have an idea for a new initiative, we'd love to hear it, and we would love to have you join us. So now I'm going to pass it to Eva, who is going to talk about fundraising.
Great. Hi, I'm Eva, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the coordinator of the fundraising team. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Right. And my email is on every page so that if you want to get involved, you can, because we would love more people doing fundraising work. Okay. So one of the points of mutual aid is, or one of the points that I see, is to ensure that money is moving. We live in a society that is unequal, and we want to be part of redistributing that wealth. And that's one of the goals of Mutual Aid Brookline. So we are spending about $1,600 a week, $6,600 a month. And so there needs to be a team working on making that money and ensuring that people's needs go met while we also pressure the government to do more. And in general, we've raised $73,959 and have redistributed $72,360 to community members through our child care and food meds delivery program. Some of the work that we have done, the fundraising team has, are the ones that I've listed on the right. And something I also want to stress is that we as a team are always thinking about how to be community focused, so that it's not solely monetary, and also figuring out ways we can always bring people together, and celebrating the work of mutual aid, or thinking about different issues coming up, while also raising funds for a much needed initiative. So one campaign that we've been running is a speaker series. This was the idea of one of the high school students that has been working with us. And so the first event that we ran or organized was a screening of Think of Calvin, which is a documentary about policing in the United States. The next one was a panel on disability rights. Panelists discussed the connections to disability and ableism to the school system, COVID, and anti-Blackness. And we are currently working on another event, so stay tuned for the details. But each time we've raised quite a bit of money and also informed both ourselves and community members on these different issues. We also did a May Gofundme. There were 20 of us, or about 20 of us, about 10 current high school students and 10 Brookline High alumni who came together, and we decided that our goal for the month would be to raise $10,000. We surpassed that goal, and the money all went to the Mutual Aid Brookline General Fund. And then a third event we ran was a one-day fundraiser on Instagram where we raised $955. And there have been a number of other campaigns. I think what's also important to highlight is that a number of people on the team have been doing different kinds of fundraising, and those have also gone super well. One for childcare, and then one that is currently going on is a birthday campaign for Bonnie and now Emma, whose birthdays, well, Emma's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Emma. But if one of you want to post that in the chat so people can see it, or I will post it afterwards. And yeah, and our team is currently comprised of 6 people. One who is currently the captioner for this, Sam, and others. And it's been one of the highlights of my week. It's a really fun time, and also a place where we can brainstorm about how to creatively fundraise, and also think about the issues of the day and how we can educate on those while simultaneously fundraising. And if you are interested in this, many of us have never done any kinds of fundraising before, so it's been fun to learn together. And we're always looking for new people, both those who don't have experience fundraising and those who do, and always looking for, always excited for creative new initiatives or ideas on how to do different kinds of fundraising. Cool. That is that.
All right, thank you, Eva. One thing I just want to talk about a little bit, because there was a question about this at the last town hall, is how our money works in our system. So we have 2 funds. We have our community fund and we have the DFAI. And so the community fund is kind of our slush fund. It's when we cover the cost of things for people in the community, that comes out of our community fund. So groceries, childcare, any other thing, we've helped parents cover the cost of clothing items, stuff like that. So that is what our community fund is for. So miscellaneous things. The direct financial aid initiative, as Emma talked about, that is for providing direct financial aid. So money from there then goes directly to provide cash assistance from people, for people. Currently, when we receive donations, it goes into our community fund if it is not designated for anything, but we are in the process of talking about how we're going to, what percentage of each donation we will want to go towards community fund or DFAI. We haven't really talked about that a lot, so that is something that we will let people know through our mailing list once we have that figured out. So we also are fully transparent about our financial situation. So all of the money that comes in and all of the money that goes out is available in a public spreadsheet. Obviously, everything is anonymous in that spreadsheet, but we do keep it public for accountability. So if you want to see where your money is going, or how much money we are bringing in, how much money is going out, you can find that on our website. And we can also link to it here in the chat right now if you're interested. So now you've heard about what we do, what we've been doing, what we're doing currently. You've heard from everybody on our team. But another thing that's really important is looking towards the future and thinking about what is going to be happening moving forward, because this pandemic is not going to be over anytime soon, unfortunately. So I'm going to invite Bonnie back to talk about what we're thinking about for the future of Mutual Aid Brookline.
Hey everybody, Bonnie, pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm going to be real quick about this. So we are in the process of rethinking what Mutual Aid Brookline is and how we can bring new community members into the organizing team to lead us and into our volunteer pool. We want to learn how to collaborate better with our neighbors and find new ways to meet needs as they develop. We really want to hear your input on what we can do better about any need that we aren't currently serving, so we can try to find a way to meet them if possible. We are also working to develop an advocacy element to our work. We want to understand what is needed in our communities so that we can push the town government to do something about it, to play a part in writing legislation in town, and to hopefully inspire more of our neighbors into civic engagement, because we need you. We want to know what you think about the school issues. We want to know what your perspective is on public safety and policing in Brookline. We are driven to help bring forth a real vision of public safety that keeps everyone safe from crime, but also safe from police harassment and police brutality. Are you worried that you will be evicted now that the moratorium on eviction is being lifted? What is it that you're struggling with? Please let us know. Shoot us an email. Join us to think about how to improve these things. We are uniquely positioned to do this work because we are on the front lines of the impacts of COVID. Together, we are creative and strong, and we believe that things could be a lot better and want to work to make it happen. And a side note is that I'm a new town meeting member in Precinct 5. This means that if you live between Route 9 or Boylston Street and Jamaica Pond, I am one of your town meeting members. This covers the High Street Vets apartments, the High Street Hill neighborhood, and the Greater Point neighborhood. And I would love to hear from you. So that completes that information portion of tonight. And we would really, really love to hear your questions or comments, anything you got. And Eliana will moderate that.
Cool, thank you, Bonnie. Yes, so we have, Seth will be monitoring Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching over there, you can send a question or a comment and it will get to us. You can also send a question in the Zoom chat, or if you want to ask your question yourself, you can also talk in the Zoom call here. I'm gonna read questions, and then anybody on the team who wants to answer, you guys can feel free to answer. So let's get started. Okay. Why did you start MAB when there are other services in Brookline?
I can take that one. There are other services in town, and we collaborate very closely with them. the place that Mutual Aid Brookline holds in town is that we are very, very flexible and very able to quickly shift to meet needs that aren't currently being met. We aren't a nonprofit or incorporated, so we don't have any strings attached to us. We can act very quickly and nimbly to meet those needs. So there's the Brookline Safety Net Foundation, or the Brookline Safety Net Fund. They have much more substantial financial resources that they have that available to people that we do not have. And there's the food pantry, whose job it is to provide food to the food insecure. We pick up the slack in between those organizations and municipal organizations in town. We pick up the people who fall through the cracks. So that's kind of our place. And we started it in the very beginning because it was clear that there wasn't going to be any kind of immediate relief for the crisis as the quarantine began. So I Googled what might be possible and found Mutual Aid Medford in Somerville, and they had already put out replicable documents to be able to start a mutual aid network. So there it was. We took those documents, tailored them to Brookline, and off we were going, just launched into the air. So that's how it happened. It was kind of the most immediate way to provide aid to people in town. Did I cover that question? Good.
Yeah. All right. So we have a question from Carlos in the chat. What are some of the ways you request funding from the city, state, and federal levels? Have you faced any resistance from any of those resources? I can talk about this. So the short answer is we don't. We are not a registered 501c3, so getting grants is tough. There are a few groups out there that do provide grants to non-registered nonprofits, which is technically what we fall under. But the money that the city, state, and federal levels provide, you can't really get it if you don't have that registered status, and it also generally comes with strings attached, which for us is really important to not have those strings, because as Bonnie said, we need to be able to be nimble with how we can distribute our money. That being said, all of our money comes from donors in the community, and generally small donations, which is so important to have those small donations. But it also means that we need you as a community, we need your continued support. And we need your ongoing support. And we're so thankful for everybody who has contributed. We couldn't do this without the time and the support and the financial donations from the community. But we are completely based in community time and community money. And so, yeah, I don't know, does anybody else want to add something to that?
Yeah, I'd like to just add that we do talk, to existing organizations. We help publicize resources on the town, state, and federal levels. Right now, we're sending out information about the eviction moratorium, making sure everyone has the information they need. One of the things that we also try to do is just encourage people to talk to each other. There is so much going on in Brookline and in Massachusetts. But especially in this time of isolation, people don't necessarily know about resources that could be helpful to them. So one of the functions that we really serve is being that point of contact, being able to talk to people and say, hey, we're going to find somebody who can help you with this need. If it's not us, we will find somebody who can. And that, I think, has been just being a connection, being a resource. Rather than physically handling, state and federal funds has been more of our role.
All right. Okay. Next question. What's the deal with those community notes emails? How do I submit something?
Oh, that's also me. So for those of you who are on our mailing list, we send out a weekly digest called Community Notes. And this is entirely community supported. Basically, anyone who lives, works, any kind of connection to Brookline can submit an event, a petition, a free service, a volunteering opportunity, anything that kind of goes with Mutual Aid Brookline's mission. And they can submit a blurb to me. I compile them into a digest and send it out on Saturdays. So if you're wondering why, you get an advertisement for a big stream of a Bayard Rustin documentary right next to a little explainer of what town meeting is, next to a petition from Boston College graduate students, all of those elements are tied together by what we're trying to do here at Mutual Aid Brookline, which again is really making those connections. Making sure that people can be heard in this space, making sure everyone knows about free services, and also recruiting volunteers for our fellow Brookline organizations. Right now in our community notes, we have calls out for the food pantry and Springwell. So yes, definitely anybody who has anything that is related to mutual aid that can be, as close to our mission as, volunteering with another organization. It can be something you just want Brookline members of the community to know about, that you want them to come to. And we're happy to spread the word and put that in community notes.
Also, just even if you're not on the mailing list, the community notes emails are also available on the website. And so is the submission form, though you will get the community notes emails in a more timely fashion if you subscribe to the mailing list. They don't always go up on the website right away.
Thanks very much to Emma for hosting that on our fantastic brand new website, which you've heard us mention a couple of times, but really it's a great centralized resource that has information about all of our different initiatives, from community notes to delivery to childcare to language access. So if we talk too fast and breeze past something, ask a question here, but also know that the website is there as a resource for you.
All right, cool. Okay. How do you screen those who apply for aid?
I can answer that a little bit. We essentially don't. The feeling of MAB is that we don't want to be putting bars on who can or cannot receive aid. So we're not asking people to jump through hoops to prove that they have a need for any assistance. I think the point of having MAB to fill in those financial cracks is that we rely on a space of trusting our community members and trusting that people are not here to abuse any system. They're here because they need support in this really hard time for everybody. So for example, for childcare, as long as we have the resources, we don't put any bars or holds on who can receive those subsidies. So while we do have caps on our capacity, just based on how much money we have coming in, as long as we have those funds to distribute, we don't turn anyone away. And anyone who comes and wants to request a subsidy, we are happy to offer that.
Anybody else want to add? All right, yeah, no, I think that was great. Okay, thank you, Elena. All right, we've got another question from Carlos. So this one is for Seth. Do you need any experience to help with the fixing initiative?
I would say it helps, but I've certainly been doing fixing things for a long time. I've done a bunch of those fix-it clinics, which we do. It's sort of more of a collaborative thing. So certainly if you have an interest and some time, then we could talk about it. Yeah, shoot me an email and we can talk about what you're interested in and see where we can fit you into that. So experience helpful, but no, not required.
Just to piggyback off of that a little bit, that's true for all of our initiatives, right? If you're interested in something and it sets off a spark and you say, hey, I want to know more about that, just reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you about what each volunteering gig entails, the time commitment, what kind of skills you might need. We're happy to talk. We want as many people as possible to get involved.
All right, so jumping off that, next question. I can only volunteer once in a while. What might be a good fit? Teresa?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, am I?
Yeah, you're unmuted. I unmuted you.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, there are some things like language that are only once in a while, but then there are others where if you can, for example, do deliveries, but you can only do it next week for 2 hours, Liz will find a time when she needs to put you in there because there are people who are volunteering a lot, and it would give them a break, I think, for some of these areas to have someone else take a shift when they can't do it. It would also get you, we've had students, for example, who wanted to do library pickup, who didn't even have a car, but they were willing to do it with their bike. And they, before school started again, they had a lot more time. Now that school has started again, their time is a little more limited. But again, nobody has to sign up for a shift for every single week for 3 hours or 2 hours or 1 hour. You can say, I can do this for this time. I can do delivery. I can help with the fundraising. I have a limited amount of time and I'm interested in doing that. I speak another language fluently, and I'd be happy to do translation or to speak to somebody who needs that. So I think that you've heard about all of the areas in which we have already have teams set up, and any one of those will probably be able to fit you in for a brief period of time when you can afford the time. We also, someone recently asked about offering a service that we right now aren't offering, and we're going to be talking about, can we do this? Can we, are there people who might be willing, in this case it was tutoring students who might need help now while, an online school is happening. We have not set up any tutoring system, but certainly if we talk about it and can do it, that might be something where you're particularly skilled in some area that might help an elementary school student or a middle school or a high school student, and we can help to work that out. So I would say that there's no specific area that requires you to be working 3 to 5 hours a week every single week. Certainly, if you could do that, it would help to set up scheduling. But as several people have said, we're pretty flexible and pretty nimble, and would like to have you work with us to the degree that you can, when you can. And if that changes, I just recently had somebody who'd been volunteering who had a family crisis and can't volunteer for a while, and said, I have to stop for a little bit because I'm busy with family. And that's fine. You're not signing a contract to work. And if you don't, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. What you're saying is, I can help out, and this is the level at which I can help out right now, and we'll figure out some way to help you help us. So thank you.
Piggybacking off of that a little bit, the hotline is also a great place for no, yeah, don't worry. If you have a limited time set, we are very much self-regulated, so you sign up for the hours you can take. And we also, we're not getting 20 calls every hour, so it's manageable. We also hold training, so if you have never worked on a hotline before, which I think is the case for many people, including myself before I worked at Mutual Aid, we do offer those. I just want to make sure that got mentioned.
All right. Okay. Can I use MAB services more than once?
I can take this from the delivery side. Yes, please do. 3/4 of our delivery clients are repeat clients. We have so many regulars who come back to us every 2 weeks and say, hey, I need a hand again. Can you go to Trader Joe's for me? And the answer is always yes. We do ask that delivery clients try and keep it to every 2 weeks, simply because we run on volunteers and they have limited time opportunities. On that note, if you'd like to be a delivery driver, definitely let me know. That's one of those ad hoc volunteering opportunities where you can literally only do it once if you want. We'll just put you on a mailing list, and then we send out, hey, we need somebody to go to Trader Joe's and drop an order off in North Brookline on a Tuesday. Are you available? If you say yes, we assign you that delivery. There's no further commitment than that. But absolutely, we're entirely happy to keep helping with deliveries, keep helping to subsidize if that is something that you need from us, or just provide that no contact delivery service, right? About half of our clients are high risk and don't want to stand in the line at Trader Joe's, you know, and we've been helping some of them since March. So we really do have folks that rely on our services and are counting on us being here.
Does anybody else want to chime in about their initiative?
I will just say that if there's anybody out there who has a truck and some strength, that is something, if we had connection with someone who was willing to occasionally, you know, bring something from one place to another, that would help a lot to have access to a truck. So just throwing that out there.
And Elena and Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but childcare, I mean, we have people who we've been doing subsidies for a few months now. So that's also something that if we have the funds, we can provide it on an ongoing basis as well, right?
Yes, exactly. And we've had people there's a couple people who started from the beginning, from March. And once you're in, we kind of try and continue offering those subsidies to those people. And then we only put caps on it if we run out of funds, but otherwise there's no limit on how many weeks or how many hours a child care provider can offer.
All right. Okay. Oh, one thing I wanted to plug also that we did not bring up, an initiative that kind of has been just on the back burner for a little bit is our virtual companionship initiative. And so that has been run by a few Brookline High School students who have been doing an amazing job. And so that initiative, the pandemic is lonely. And a lot of people, particularly high-risk people, are feeling very isolated right now. I know I feel isolated a lot. And so having people to talk to and having human connection right now is so important. So we do have our virtual companionship initiative that wasn't presented on tonight, but it is still going. So if you are watching right now, and you want someone to talk to, it can be through texting, it could be email, it could be on the phone, it could be Zoom, FaceTime, whatever method you prefer. We can get you in touch with somebody who would love to talk with you as well. It can be a weekly conversation, it can be a monthly conversation. We just want to connect people and bring people together. Because I know that, for example, most of the people in this team I didn't know before, and now having these connections is so important. So yeah, you can reach out to mutualaidbrookline.companions@gmail.com or mutualaidbrookline@gmail.com, or you can call our hotline, which we will throw up as well. So I just wanted to plug that so I didn't forget. All right, we can take a few more questions. We've got about 20 minutes left. Okay. Do you serve people outside of Brookline?
I can start us off for that one. So the short answer is yes. Essentially, we help out with neighboring communities that don't have mutual aid networks that have grocery delivery, especially immediate grocery delivery. So we have helped out with deliveries, especially in West Roxbury, a couple in Mission Hill, and definitely in the Chestnut Hill area, which is Brookline, but some people think of it, you know, in a different section in their mind. We primarily serve Brookline, but if you are in a spot that's nearby that is not covered by another network, definitely get in touch with us. And even if you are in an area that's potentially covered by another network and you just don't know who to ask, let us know, because we talk to a bunch of the Massachusetts mutual aid networks. We do referrals, we make sure that you can get to the resources that you need. We've done this a lot for folks in Jamaica Plain, in Roxbury proper, in Medford and Somerville, in getting them connected to the mutual aid network that's local to them. And yes, if you're in Jamaica Plain, you can request a Brookline library delivery. That is a frequently asked question. Basically, folks who are card holders in the Brookline library system are eligible for library deliveries.
All right, yeah, I think that was a, thank you, Liz. Okay, next question. Okay, do you offer internships? So I can say a little bit about this, but then I want to pass it off to Sam. So we don't have internships. I mean, we're all just people volunteering our time, and we're not like an official organization or anything, so we don't have anything that is an internship. That being said, if you're a high school student who wants to get involved with your community, we want to have you here. We have, we have high school students in leadership positions. We've got Sam and Amelia, and we've had a lot of people from Kate Leslie's social justice class, and they have brought so much to the table. Also, like if you need to fill out community service hours for school, we're happy to just write an email and say, yes, you did this. But no official internships, but I would love to have Sam talk a little bit about what this has been for her.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm a senior at Brookline High School, and so I joined in my junior year of high school. And I think definitely being a high schooler and working with MAB has both been a challenge and also been an extremely educational experience. So, I mean, like any other commitment, this does take time. And especially I think because of the role that I'm in, I do tend to spend a lot of time, but I think also, we've talked about it a bit before. The good thing about mutual aid is that it is very, time manageable. So I know there are high schoolers out there who are dealing with applications and homework and all those other things. And you can do those, and it's still possible to help and engage with your community, which is great. And also, just working with mutual aid, even though there's no internship or a, official title, I think it's been just as informative, both in kind of getting real world experience. I think one of the most special things about being on the team is that I'm treated as an equal, and I'm treated just like any other adult would be treated, which I think sadly is not something that many teenagers experience in Brookline and just in our greater world. And I can say that that doesn't happen at mutual aid, which is so special. So I highly recommend it. I've met people, I've lived in Brookline my whole life. I went to the middle schools, I went to the high schools, and yet I've never met so many of the people that I get to talk to on a daily basis. So I've made new friends, new bonds that, are going to last, even though, I'm still in high school and I haven't left my house in a few months. So if you're in high school, I highly recommend just trying it out. It's such a fun experience. There are so many great people. Yeah, I hope that kind of makes it a bit more clear what the high schooler perspective is.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. That's great.
I think Sam touched on something important too, that a lot of people who are part of mutual aid have deep roots in the Brookline community. Some of us don't at all. I'm considered a pretty new transplant, having only been here for 4 years. And Teresa joined us just a couple of months ago, and is now fully immersed in the Brookline community. And most of us haven't actually met each other in person, but in this time of extreme isolation and kind of disconnect in our community, we're meeting new people, we're making new friends. And that is one of the really beautiful things about being a part of a mutual aid network, is that you do make those connections, right? You build those bonds, as Sam was saying, and you meet people that you never would have met, especially at this moment when we're not really leaving our houses, or when you do, you know, you've got this mask covering your face. And it's a great way to engage with your community while helping keep your community safe, which I think is a balance that all of us are trying to navigate right now. And I know that it has certainly helped me personally, as being able to feel like I'm doing something instead of just sitting on my hands and staying within these four walls, which I see rather a lot at the moment. It's a way to get out into the community without physically necessarily getting into the community.
If you're listening, or if you are a sibling or a parent of someone who's in high school right now, when you go off to college, you'll find opportunities to be on committees, to work with college administration, enormously important experience for college students. Those high school students who are on this working right now with MAB are getting a kind of experience that's going to serve them next year and the years beyond, because they're going to go into colleges where, if there's an opportunity to be interacting with college administrators, for example, and faculty, having done this, I think gives you a kind of confidence that say, hey, I can do this. I had a really important job for the year or so that I worked for Mutual Aid Brookline, and I did it well, and I can express my opinions, and I can talk to people who are older than I am with different kinds of levels of experience, and feel confident about it. So it's an added benefit. And as somebody, I've said this before, I'm a lot older than than everybody that I've met so far. And I've had an opportunity to interact with people who are much younger than I am, different generations and different experiences, that at my age is very hard to do. And it's very rewarding for me, not only in terms of doing what I'm doing for the community, but also in terms of helping to keep me young and understanding different perspectives. And that's very valuable. So if you're somebody listening out there who is of, shall we say, a certain age, there's room for you on this too, and it can be very useful and very, very rewarding.
Okay. Another question. Is MAB supported by the town of Brookline?
I can answer that. We kind of touched on this earlier. We are not supported by the town of Brookline. That is an issue of us not being a nonprofit or what's the word? Incorporated. We are just some neighbors coming together to help neighbors via a lot of Google Docs. And so that presents some problems moving town money like that. But we, as it's been brought up many times by Liz, we very much coordinate and collaborate and share information with the town so that we can effectively and efficiently meet the needs in town. Yeah, there's no competition around this at all. I know that's not really the question, but I always feel it's important to say, like, we are, if like the food pantry can do a better job and serve, 750 families, we don't have that capacity. So that's what they do. And we collaborate as best we can to fill in the blanks around that. So no, we are not receiving any money from the town, but we very much work with everybody in town.
Okay. All right, so we've got like 10 minutes left. If you have any last minute questions or comments, definitely send them our way. We want to hear from you. All right.
I'd just like to give a shout out to Daphne, who's joining us on the Zoom, who is one of our veteran volunteer dispatchers. Dispatch is not a part that people necessarily think about when they think about delivery, but we have a team of amazing volunteers who are the ones who are connecting delivery clients to delivery volunteers. and really making sure, that specific list is getting taken down, that we have your address, that we have your date of birth for prescription, make sure, that you're getting those library books that you've been waiting on for 3 months, and really making those connections. So thank you to all of our volunteers, but especially shout out to Daphne, who's joining us tonight. And Jay, who used to be a dispatcher and then went over to language access.
It's a fun one, would recommend. Everybody interested.
Yes, please join us. We'll be running another training cycle very soon. So if anyone's interested, definitely reach out.
All right. Okay, do you take donations other than financial donations, non-perishable food, clothing, etc.?
We do not generally, unless it's PPE, masks. In the beginning, we were taking donations because it was so hard to find things like hand sanitizer and cleaning products and toilet paper. So what happens when people donate things that are not money is that they sit in my foyer. And my foyer is only so big. So I still have stuff. So occasionally we take stuff. Most of the time it's because someone has asked for it, or because there's, a lack of it out at the store. We try to keep a pile of it so that we can make sure anyone who needs it could have some. But generally we do not, because we don't have storage for it.
And if you need something specific, definitely reach out to us. And that's where Katie and Steph come into the equation of making sure if you do need something specific, if you need a specific size of kids' clothing, or you're looking for a lamp or a fridge or something, that's the kind of thing where we'll send out a call to our list for you.
Yeah, and I will say that, so in the beginning, I had to put out a call for toilet paper. That was like when it was just me and Bonnie, and we had so many people who needed toilet paper. And I had to put out a request for toilet paper donations. And I just want to say, like, the community was amazing. I put out a request for toilet paper, and within like 2 days, Bonnie's entire foyer was just covered in TP. You still have some toilet paper, right?
I do. If anyone finds themselves in need of toilet paper, just ask.
And
I'd like it to be out of my foyer.
Like, the community has been amazing. Like, when we put out requests for things, the community comes through, and I think that is so at the heart also of mutual aid, like hearing a need and stepping up and providing for that. I will say also, we have a backlog of computer requests. So if you have an old computer, that is one thing that we would love for you to reach out for. Because we do have a number of elderly people who have asked for computers, as well as families with kids in school who need them. And so I think that is something that we would definitely love you to reach out randomly. But most things we put out a request if we need it. Yeah. Okay.
So, sorry, I will say, I was making an open request for technology earlier. So if you do have those sorts of things, as Liana just said, computers, older phones, tablets, please get in touch, because there is indeed a need for those things pretty much at all times. So that I guess is something that we take on the regular.
Even if they're broken and they haven't been used in 5 years and have been sitting in your...
I will either fix them up, or if they can't be salvaged, I will properly e-waste recycle them.
All right. Okay. Looking for more questions.
While you're thinking about this, I will just take the opportunity to make a plug for voting. Election Day is coming up. Very important election, and it's not just about the federal one, right? If you need information about the down ballot races, we're happy to get you nonpartisan resources about that. If you need information about the hours for early voting, if you need to know where the drop box is, definitely call us, call our hotline, send us an email. We're happy to help. And town meeting is also coming up. We like to help educate folks about what town meeting is, what town government is, and really just get folks engaged with different aspects of the community. And right now, that does involve knowing a little bit about government, knowing a little bit about what's happening in the political sphere. So if you have any questions about town meeting, there is currently an explainer in the community notes, which is on the website. And also if you're on our mailing list, you got it in your inbox a couple weeks ago and last week as well. And we're going to be sending out one with early voting hours and resources on this Saturday. So stay tuned. And we definitely want to be a resource for that.
I'll also make a plug for sharing the GoFundMe with your networks on social media and in emails, because it's getting money. So please share.
Great. I'll talk about that for 1 second. We started a GoFundMe. It was a birthday GoFundMe, my birthday GoFundMe, and now it's Emma's birthday. Happy birthday, Emma. So general mutual aid birthday fundraiser via GoFundMe. Our goal is currently $16,000. We are going to go through the end of October. Please, please, please consider donating. Every little bit counts. If maybe you think about it as we can't take our kids trick-or-treating, maybe the money that you spend on the enormous amount of trick-or-treaters that we usually get every year, maybe you could donate that money, since there won't be any trick-or-treaters this year, to the cause. And we picked $16,000 because that's about 2 months worth of money that we put out into the community that we redistribute. And the idea is to keep us more sustainable through the winter months, because there's a lot coming up. The weather's going to get cold. There's going to be a lot of evictions happening, and I shudder to think what we have coming at us in the winter. So we want to be as prepared and sustainable as possible for all of that. So please consider donating. Hopefully it is under one of our streaming videos on Facebook, and we can put it in the chat again here for anyone interested. But that's really important in addition to all the other stuff. Feel free to distribute that around to all your people as well.
All right. I have one more quick question. This one I think would make sense.
Also, Teresa has a comment or something.
Oh, Teresa, you're unmuted.
I was just going to say, vis-a-vis donating money, in another 10 days, no politician will be asking you desperately for money that they need in order to do political ads, billboards, whatever. So the money that you are getting requests for daily from every politician in the universe will stop. And you can perhaps donate some of that money to the GoFundMe, which will be going on for a little bit longer, or even just directly to Mutual Aid Brookline, even if there isn't a GoFundMe.
I just wanted to, is it okay if I add one thing, Eliana?
Yeah, we have 2 minutes left.
Okay, I was just going to add very quickly that if anyone is interested in really spreading it to your networks and wants assistance with either preparing the email that they send, drafting a list of who they want to send it to, feel free to email me about that, and I can walk you through that and show you some example emails. And in general, we're always looking for people with new networks to fundraise with. So, you know, the more people who want to come my way, the merrier. And high school students specifically learned how to write these fundraising emails with us in the spring, and I think it was a very fulfilling experience for them of learning how to fundraise and kind of drafting their own emails and sending that out to their networks.
All right, so we're in the last second, so I just want to say one more time, thank you so much to Big Brookline Interactive Group for hosting us. Thank you so much to Sam Tarlow for doing our closed captions. And I've thrown up our information on the screen again. If you have any more questions, email us, visit our website. There's a ton of information up there. And get involved, reach out if you need anything. We are here as part of the community. We want all of you to be a part of Mutual Aid Brookline. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for supporting us and being here with us.